one day I got a text from my mom that they had to put Casey down, the dog. And she was like, can you like let Jordan know? And I was like, oh man, like that's, I don't mind telling him I'm going to see him. And so we actually had a softball doubleheader that night. And I'm like, do I tell him before the game and then hope like the softball like kind of takes his mind off things so that he can, maybe be in better spirits by the end of it? Or do I wait, we play the games, and then I tell him at the end of the game? I let him know.
No. What are you doing?
I was a mid-tainter. And I regretted it instantly. And he was like, why did you tell me between games?
That's ridiculous. That is not even in the realm of possibility. I don't understand at all.
Hey, welcome to the Bag Chatter podcast. Adam and I will be back next week with episode 6 of season 2, but we didn't want you to go a full fortnight without content here on the Bag Chatter feed. So what we have for you today is a sample platter of the choicest cuts of lean bone meat and 4-ball ham from the Bag Chatter Deli. The Bag Chatter Deli is the silly name we chose for our Patreon page. I know most of you know what Patreon is, but for those of you who don't, it's an easy way for listeners to support our podcast, and in response, you get bonus content. We've got one support level, $5 a month, and that gets you our Cold Cuts Hot Takes podcast, which we drop every Friday morning. If you're a supporter, you can listen to that on the web or through the free Patreon app once you've signed up to support us. We've already got some awesome people in the deli, thanks to those of you who already support, and just know that every little bit helps us cover our entry fees for season 2. So if you're thinking, yeah, you know what, maybe I'll do that, go ahead, knock it out right now. We would greatly appreciate it. Go to patreon.com/bagchattergolf. You can sign up to support there, $5 a month. And if you're wondering what our Cold Cuts Hot Takes podcast is all about, that's what today's bonus episode is. It's 3 random segments we pulled from Cold Cuts episodes we posted a couple of months ago. So here you go. Hope you enjoy.
All right. Do you have a listener question for us, Brian?
I do. I absolutely
That's ideal.
do.
That's perfect.
This listener question comes from Joel V. He asks, do you guys have any stupid things that you do just to make yourself laugh or amuse yourself? Like little games you play or scenarios you think of or harmless, embarrassing things that you do that no one knows about?
Joel, yes.
Where do we begin?
Where do we begin with the neuroses that are the things I do to entertain myself? I'm tempted to go with the answer that there's a little Tykes basketball hoop in the basement, right? And I can't be around a basketball hoop without shooting at it. We watched the Super Bowl together last night. I went up to get a soda. There's 4 basketballs for this thing. I can't walk upstairs without grabbing all 4 basketballs and shooting all 4 of them and taking like some of my self-worth and putting it into whether I make all 4 or not,
Yeah.
And it's like, that is just like my whole life has been that. More in the spirit of the question, I feel like when I am pumping gas, I like to go to a number. I like to get it, near full. And then I like to try to land it evenly on the dollar without, as close as I can. So high, full speed. It's like stopping a stopwatch on 5 seconds exactly. So I like to stop it on, $34. And I'm pretty good at it. I'm not going to lie to you. I've developed quite a skill.
Perhaps if there was some kind of a little idiosyncratic Olympics and if this was an event, you feel like you would be really good at it.
Yeah, I think I'd be up there just because I think I have more reps than most people. You know what I'm saying? I think other people could get better than me. I just think I have a little head start. So early on in these competitions, I think I'm going to have an advantage.
I'm going to piggyback on that one with my own little neurosis, and that is I've long been a budgeter and have tracked for a long time. I tracked every dollar that we spent. And for like a 10-year period, I did this all on paper. I would do it with receipts. I would do it with looking through the bank statement, but I had a spreadsheet I'd print out every month. And sometimes I wouldn't know what an expense was from. And so one of the ways I made it easy on myself was that anytime I got gas, I would always go 1 to 3 cents over a dollar, because it would just be easy for me to be like, oh, 25.02. Yeah. Even though most of the time it said Wawa or Sunoco, but sometimes it was like a random gas station. Mm-hmm. So I always, even to this day, when I'm getting gas, if I'm stopping before full, I'm always going to like 0.02 or 0.03 just out of force.
That's very funny. That's funny. I like that one. Very petrol related entertainment for us. I'm sure that's what Joel was looking for. Just strictly gasoline related entertainment.
I used to drive an hour each way to work, so I'd be in the car a lot, and I would like stopping for gas usually because it would give me an excuse to go in and buy something that I shouldn't be eating. And so oftentimes I would not fill my tank. I'd just get like $20 or $25, and I would like give myself a reason to stop for candy because, oh, I need gas again. Guess I got to go in and have one of those double Wawa pretzels that they got by the register. Oh, well.
That's right. Oh, too bad. Too bad I had to stop.
So the first thing that came to my mind to this, I feel like I've shared this before, maybe in a very old Life Stocks episode, a podcast that doesn't exist anymore. This is probably my most ridiculous and yet most fun thing to me that I've do. And I've done this maybe forever, maybe since high school. I love, okay, so if I'm walking down a hallway, I don't know if you've heard me say this one before.
If I'm
walking down a hallway, right? And let's say I notice that there's somebody like 20 feet behind me and we're coming up to a corner. So we're going to take the corner. As soon as I take the corner and get out of sight, I will speed up and walk as fast as I can without like running or being noticed. And then I'll try to stop the speed up so that when they turn the corner, I'm now 35 feet in front of them instead of 20. And I've done this probably 500 times in my life. And I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I just want one person's mind to be blown and to think, how is he that far in front of me? He's still walking the same pace. And I've literally done this like 500 times in my life. And I'm just hoping that somebody is going to notice that I've done this.
What I like about this is that this is just like very, very light trolling. You know what I'm saying? It's
yes.
Like you're really trying to screw someone's brain up for a moment. You really want them to think they're having a stroke for a second because wait a second, wasn't that guy 20 feet in front of me? Did I step into a time warp? What happened here?
Did I step into Narnia? Yeah, you nailed it. I never thought of it that way before. 100%. And this actually connects it to the little things I do to drive Erica crazy. Like she pours a cup of milk and then goes into the bathroom and comes out, and I've moved it to the other side of the island, and I just want to see if she notices or not.
When she talks back to you, you hit her with a stick. It's the little thing.
Is that light trolling also?
Yeah, it's just it's light trolling. You send her down to the dungeon to,
Maybe next time if I tell the cop it was light trolling, officer, like really there's no need to be here.
That's a misdemeanor, maybe a summary offense, honestly. Listen, all that is.
I'm not going to make jokes about domestic abuse, but light trolling on the other hand. Another thing that I do, and I feel like I definitely talked about this even on this podcast before on Bag Chatter, but it's the whole thing where I marinate clothes. I let them brew in my closet. I get something new and I don't want to wear it. You've heard about this, right?
This is not a little thing you do to entertain yourself. This is psychotic. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. Explain it to people. It bothers me, honestly, that you do this. I don't know why it bothers me so much.
When I am wearing something new and somebody says, "Oh, is that a new shirt?" I feel embarrassed saying, "Yeah, it is." I don't know why that embarrasses me. It's like I feel like I was trying to look good and you caught me trying to look good. I was trying to bring attention to myself with new garb and you caught me. So I feel like if I take the new shirt and I let it sit in the closet for a month, then I wear it and they say, "Is that a new shirt?" then I love being able to say, yeah, I got it like a month or two ago. And
And you're
suddenly
not
it's
lying. You're not lying.
and I'm not
They're like,
lying.
the tags are still on it, but I got this thing a month or two ago. It's like a loophole. You've created a loophole to be able to lie. Yeah, it's the first time I'm wearing it. That's the real answer. But no, I got it a month or two ago. I'm a little bit that way with a different emphasis, where it's like I grew up, my dad was a pastor. We didn't have a lot of money. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to explain to everyone what a great deal I got on everything. So if I have something nice, and someone notices it and points it out, I have to say, "Oh, you're not even going to believe this. It was 60% off on Amazon or whatever it is."
Yeah.
I need to tell people, whatever you think this cost, it probably didn't cost that much. It's like I can't help myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like a cousin of what I deal with. So that's interesting.
I mean, as a kid especially, I had all these little, almost OCD neuroses where it was just like all the normal things of like, not stepping on cracks. I couldn't step on cracks. I was obsessed with the idea that if you I was obsessed with this idea that if you're like counting up a line, right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's not even if you then go 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's like it would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I would do those things in my head. So I'd like, if I snap my left finger, I'd have to do 2 in the right and then 1 in the left to make it even. But then it's uneven because I started left. And so I have to start on the right. Like I would get caught at like 11 years old in these like cycles of I have to do this over and over again till it's even. The dirty secret being it's never going to be even because you can endlessly go down that path.
And that's why your knuckles are swollen to 3 times the size of a normal person's.
That's right. They look
repetitive
like
cracking.
They look like Vienna sausages. It's just it's not good.
I got one more quick one for you. When I was actually, the crazy thing about this story is that this was at Zion Hill, where our parents met in the 70s or 80s.
Yes, so my grandfather ran a Bible camp for many years in the 80s. Because you're much older than me.
Yes, that is unfortunately true. So my favorite number growing up, maybe like in grade school into middle school, was 4. Okay. And the reason that it was 4 is because one time at Zion Hill, I'm going to say I was probably like in the 6 to 8-year-old range. I was pretty young, but we were dressed up for some reason. And some adult made the comment to me and a couple of the other kids I was with, like, look at you guys. You look like little grown-ups or like little adults or something. Not soon after that, I had a sore throat. And I went to use the Chloraseptic spray. Are you familiar with the throat numbing spray, sure. Chloraseptic?
Yeah.
And it said kids 3 sprays, adults 5 sprays. And I thought, well, this woman thought we looked like little adults, so I'm going to go with 4 sprays of Chloraseptic.
I'm going to middle this one.
Not only did I do that, but then I made 4 my favorite number for like the next 5 years.
That's the part that I was going to point out, is that this Chloraseptic experience branded itself onto you to a degree that your favorite number was 4. Wow.
That's a true story.
I would say that this question has revealed some neuroses. So thank you, Joel.
Yeah.
For having us admit some things that, we could, some diagnosable things possibly.
All right, here's my question for you.
Okay.
I should have written this one out so I could eloquently say it, but I didn't. So you're just going to have
to.
Does
it involve a genie or $1 million?
It does not involve a genie or $1 million, but it does involve a hypothetical.
Okay, I love a good hypothetical.
You've got some friends. They're not like your best friends, but you've known them for quite a while. Fairly close with them. They ask you to house sit their house for a week while they go on a Caribbean vacation. Okay. And you know that they've been looking forward to this for a while, and they he works a ton and they got a bunch of kids. They deserve this vacation and it's going to be great for them. So you go over to house sit, spend 45 minutes before they leave, giving you the rundown, all the instructions on everything. They have a cat, and they're like, here's the cat. She's, make sure the bowl has food every few days. She kind of comes and goes out of this cat door in the garage. You might not even see her for a couple of days. She's fine. Been our cat for 10 years, whatever. Give you the whole rundown. They go. The second day, you wake up and you're having your morning coffee and there's a knock on the door and you open it up and it's the neighbor. And she's standing with a township worker and she says, hey, just want you to know, I know your house sitting here. I'm pretty sure their cat just got run over by a car last night. And the township guy's like, yeah, I got a call to come out here, saw the neighbor. She identified it as the people who live here. He's like, it was pretty bad. Like there's not going to be any burial for this cat. Like it was pretty bad. So you're like, okay, thanks for letting me know. You go back inside, grab your cup of coffee. What do? Are you 100% reaching out to them like within the next 30 minutes to let them know, hey, y'all, I know you're on day 2 of a week-long vacation, but your cat got ran over last night. Are you considering, and let me say this, I was going to say, the neighbor said, like, I'm pretty sure it was a cat. Like, I don't want to be 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it was your cat. I really hope their cat shows up here in the next day or two, but I'm pretty sure. So you're not like 100% sure, but you're probably sure. So that's the hypothetical. Are you considering waiting a day? Let them have another day of vacation, but maybe 3 days. Now that I think about it, should I just let them enjoy their whole vacation and then on their way back, let them know this happened to your cat? How are you handling this?
I think I'm definitely waiting. I'm not ruining the vacation. I'm not ruining the vacation, especially if there's any doubt whatsoever that it was their cat, right? Okay. Like if there's any doubt, then I'm not going to ruin their vacation, then have their cat show up. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay, so knowing that then, let's say we're 100% sure it's their cat. Okay. How would you react then?
I don't know. I don't think this feels almost like an ethical question, and I don't think it is, in the sense of like, this isn't, I know people treat their pets like family members. This isn't like a family member. If their sister died, I'm not, saying, well, don't ruin their vacation. Obviously, they need to know that. What are they going to be benefited in some way by knowing that the cat is gone any sooner? And I think it's actually the right thing to do, to wait, maybe not till they get home, but till the end of their trip and say, hey, I've got bad news for you.
Would it change if it was a dog and not a cat? Or still in that same...
Dogs are superior, and more important.
Mm-hmm. Except for greyhounds.
Except for greyhounds, who should all die, not only a death, a painful death, because of the way they look.
It's terrible.
I think if I'm being honest with myself, so yeah, it's a little bit harder for me because I'm not a cat person, but yeah, I think it's the same thing.
So what are you going to do on the day as they're packing up? You're like, hey, by the way, your cat actually got hit by a car this week. And they're like, what? And you're like, yeah, it happened, I think, overnight. The township worker had knocked on the door in the morning with the neighbor. And they say, when did this happen? And you're going to feel pretty good about saying, well, actually, it was 5 days ago. I just didn't want to ruin your vacation. I'm not going to feel pretty good
about it, Brian. There's not a lot of me feeling pretty good in this situation. I think that overall, I'm going to feel very bad about every part of it and just be honest with them and say, I really wasn't sure what to do. I didn't want to ruin your vacation. I hope I made the right decision. And if you're upset with me about that, that's fine. I used my best judgment, and I'm sorry if you would have done it differently. That's what it is.
I think that's the right call. I've thought about this question a bunch. And I've wondered if, now obviously there's varying degrees of news, and if it was a family member, that's a whole different story. But are the memories of a great week of vacation tainted by, let's say it was a dog, let's say it was the family dog for 15 years and it was like a child to them, kind of thing. And are the memories of a good week tainted if you then find out, oh, this entire week we were having a great time, not knowing that our precious dog died on Monday, kind of a thing? Not that they would get mad at you. I just wonder, like, in the end, how important are the experiences versus the memories?
It's going to be tainted no matter what. So whether you find out at the beginning, the end, or when you get home, that vacation is always going to be the vacation where your dog died. And therefore it's tainted. So the question is, do you want to taint it now or do you want to taint it later? And I'm like, I'm a later tainter. And I think I don't think it's fear. I don't think it's putting something off. I think it's genuinely saying, okay, they deserve this vacation. Let them enjoy this and at least have a good time and not have the experiences fully ruined in the meantime. So when Rachel and I got married and I moved out of a situation where I was living with a roommate who had 2 cats. And as I was moving my stuff out of that house, I don't think I ever told you this, the door was left open. And he had always told me that one cat would maybe try to get out, the other one would never. And suddenly the one who would never get out is gone. Cannot find this cat anywhere. So I start hightailing it around the neighborhood, trying to find this cat anywhere. Cannot find it. I'm full panic. I'm having this question. Do I call him? Mm-hmm. I knew he was out. He was, doing something. He was at like a party with his family. And so I decided I was going to keep looking. So I was there, like I would have been out. I was there 2 hours after I had everything packed into my car looking for the cat. And I say to him, he gets back and I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I cannot find this one cat anywhere. He's like, really? Like, I don't think she'd leave, blah, blah. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. I've looked everywhere. I've looked all around the neighborhood. I've looked everywhere in the house. And he goes inside, comes down, and he's holding the cat. It had been on a windowsill behind a shade, just parked, hiding there. But I went through the whole process of, what do I do? Yeah. Do I tell him? When do I tell him? And I waited till he got home, and then I could have left 2 hours earlier.
I have a story about this as well. My parents' dog died, and the dog was never my dog. They got it later in life after I already moved out. But my youngest brother, Jordan, who's 11 years younger than me, he had been living in the house when the dog was there, so it was kind of his dog too. Then Jordan ended up moving up to Pennsylvania, and we played softball together. And one day I got a text from my mom that they had to put Casey down, the dog. And she was like, can you let Jordan know? And I was like, oh man, that's, I don't mind telling him. I'm going to see him. And so we actually had a softball doubleheader that night. And I'm like, do I tell him before the game and then hope the softball kind of takes his mind off things so that he can, maybe be in better spirits by the end of it? Or do I wait, we play the games, and then I tell him at the end of the game? I decided not to tell him before the games, but then sometime in the middle of the first game, I was like, I really don't want to wait till the end of the games. So between games, I let him know.
No. What are you doing?
I was a mid-tainter. And I regretted it instantly. And he was like, why did you tell me between games?
That's ridiculous. That is not even in the realm of possibility. I don't understand at all. Oh, gosh.
I was awful. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Well, Ryan, do you have a question for me?
I do.
Or a draft or a ranking or Something that's not really a question.
Dang it, it is a question. The
Okay,
question is
perfect.
asking you to rank 5 things. Okay?
Okay.
I actually wrote this one out just so that I wouldn't stumble over my words, but I probably still will anyway. Here we go. A genie comes out of a bottle and says, I'm going to give you a challenge that if you pass it, you'll win $1 million.
Okay.
You have to referee a major professional sporting event right now. So no studying, none of that. Okay.
Yep.
But here's the catch. I'm going to put you into the body of a real referee so that no one will visually see that you're an imposter. You will move just like that referee moves. And mainly I put that in for like the ability to ice skate well.
Yeah.
Okay. So that
very specific example.
A little specific, but so that the only tell that you're not an actual official will be your knowledge of the rules and your handling of the game. Success is defined by no one knowing you're an imposter and receiving a passing grade from the league that employs you. You can choose from one of the 5 major sports for this assignment: home plate ump in a World Series game, head official of an NBA game, head referee of an NHL game, referee of an NFL game, or head ref of a Premier League soccer game. So I would like you to rank out of those 5 choices, what would be your first choice all the way down to your bottom choice. I knew the question ahead of time, of course, so I already have my rankings. I'm curious where you're going to go.
I think the thing I'd be the worst at, even if you take the skating out of it, is hockey. So I really don't know. I know what a hook is,
Mm-hmm.
but like a lot of times there's like a penalty where it's like, okay, that just looked like a check to me. I don't know why it's not a penalty. I know people who are hockey refs. So it's like, I should know a little bit, but I really know. So it's really between hockey and soccer. And for me, soccer seems simpler to referee.
I also have the NHL as my number 5 because, and I know that it's the linesmen technically who are like calling offsides, but just to know, to be able to see offsides if you need to see it. The icing rules have changed, I feel like 5 times over the last 20 years. I don't even know what an actual icing is anymore.
Right.
Dropping the puck seems dangerous. I don't want any part of that. So
And so soccer, I know probably equally little about, but I think I could know. I know what offsides is clearly in soccer. I think I could identify most, tackles that were a penalty.
Yep.
And so again, I wouldn't be good at it, obviously, but I think I could come closer to fudging my way through a soccer game than I could a hockey game.
I not only agree with that, but I do not have soccer in my number 4 slot.
Interesting.
I actually have something else.
So you got to have football.
Yeah,
you've got football as 4.
Football, it's obviously the sport I consume the most, and I know, I can identify most of the hand motions and everything, but I just think I might be a little more lost out there than I would with soccer.
It would help if I was the head official, because I know all the rules. I shouldn't say all the rules, because if I was like a line judge, I couldn't identify every illegal formation, obviously. So it's like things like that. There are things I couldn't do, but at least for the most part, I know the rules of football. I can identify most things. Again, wouldn't be good at it. I would get a low grade, but I would know what to look for. I would need to, although the weirdest thing about football is like, where do you stand? Where, so I think the head ref is kind of behind the play.
I think
and
so,
I think he's generally looking for holding.
Yeah.
I think that's what he does. I'm like, yeah, I think I could do that. Check. I think I could look for holding, throw cheap roughing the passer things to bail out the good quarterbacks. You understand? I could do that.
Yeah, know how to use the little flip microphone on your hip when you need to talk to the crowd.
Absolutely. I'd love doing that. That'd be fun. But yeah, so football would definitely be 3 for me. Soccer would be 3 for you.
That's where I have soccer, yeah.
And then between basketball and baseball, number 2, I got to go basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I could call a basketball game and not have anyone be immediately distressed at what's this guy doing? Does he know anything about basketball?
Yeah. I actually put NBA at number 1 and baseball at number 2.
Really?
For 2 reasons. Number 1, I guess if you're behind the plate, I mean, it's ball strikes and, plays at the plate, essentially. I guess I could do a good job in that. I just don't want to do that. That's my reasoning. Is that I don't. It's like dropping a puck. It seems kind of dangerous. My other reason is that NBA officials suck anyway. I can barely watch the NBA because it's just like, what's a foul, what's not a foul. I'm so annoyed by it at this point that I'm like, could I really be that much worse than what current NBA officials are? So that's why I put that at number 1 and baseball number 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think baseball is by far the easiest. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some incredibly difficult spots in baseball when you're reffing. The reason basketball refs suck is because it's incredibly, incredibly hard to tell what is a foul and what is not at full speed.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if home plate, I really believe I could call a good strike zone tomorrow. I could go into a major league. And again, I played 20 years of baseball and I was a catcher the entire time. So I'm used to being behind the plate. I'm used to seeing what is a strike in a ball. And so I think I could go call balls and strikes instantly. Baseball's a little weird in that there are there are situations that you have to know. They're very rare. So if you were doing one game, you'd just be betting that none of these weird situations happen. But like,
Sure.
Do you know the infield fly rules enough to call them instinctively? There are some weird base running things that can happen where it's it's just, do you know what a balk is for sure?
Right.
And things like that. There are some weird ones. Overall, it's the easiest it's not confusing. You could be bad at it, but it's not confusing. And I think it's the only one that I think I'd be good at. I think I could, again, because of my baseball experience being the highest experience in any of those sports, I think I'd be a good umpire if given the opportunity.
If it was a base umpire, then I would 100% pick that. I have been a base umpire, obviously not for World Series, obviously only for Little League games, but I didn't enjoy it. I would never be an official of anything above Little League. Like the vitriol you take from the parents, that's just not my personality at all. But half of Little League officiating is just like doing it with confidence. So like, the closer the play is at first, the more confident you have to be in your out and safe call. And I kind of enjoyed it when I did a little bit.
That's what. No, you're wrong.
I am 100% not wrong.
No, I mean, no, that is why there are bad umps out there, is that they think that what they need is confidence. And what they need is A, to be good, be right as often as possible. And then B, when you don't know, you need to not be just crazy confident and cocky that you had it right. You need to be able to say to a coach, hey, this is how I saw it. That's the end of the discussion. It's not, 100% it was right, especially in the age of cell phones. You're seeing things now where it's like, there's instant replay, in the opinions of everyone, because you can be wrong. Umps are allowed to be wrong in a Little League game. That's fine.
Sure.
But the only time I ever had a problem with umpires in my baseball career was when they were extremely cocky and confident when they were probably wrong. And so that's how you turn people against you. That's how you get that vitriol, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, we're kind of talking about different things. I'm thinking more of, I've watched so many like parents who had to step in as umps, and it's a close play on a stolen base, and they hesitate for 3 seconds, and then they're like,
oh yeah, that's a disaster.
Safe, like that kind of thing. Like, it's like, no, you have an instinct about what you just saw, safe or out. Like, I've seen 10,000 close plays in my life, and I trust myself to call it with confidence, not to like strut around afterward. And like, if somebody questions me, I'm not that kind of cocky. It's like, I know what I saw, I'm sticking with it. And I did have a coach one time after like a half inning or a half of game of watching me umpire. He was like, wow, didn't know we had a professional going on. So that was kind of similar to when somebody called me a little adult when I was 8 years old, and then 4 became my favorite number. I've clung to that one compliment. But
Yeah, makes it even more surprising that it wasn't in your one.
Well, because it was being a home plate umpire, and I have no desire
That is
to be
such a.
behind the plate.
It's so indicative of our personalities. Everything we did with the ones I don't want to do, I'm also trying to avoid being wrong. Right? Because
Yeah.
that's the goal. So in soccer, I'm just hoping nothing comes up that I don't know what it is. In baseball, I've always been like, if I could home plate umpire every game, I'd want to be an umpire. That's
Oh, wow.
exciting. You're in the action. You get to do something just like for the same reason I loved catching. You get to do something every time. Every single pitch, you're there. You're doing something. You're calling the pitch. You're all over the place. Where I played catcher and shortstop, and I liked shortstop, but you only got 4 or 5 plays a game. You get bored. And in the same way, base umpires, it's like, yeah, you get 4 or 5 calls a game. I want to call every single pitch. It's just so funny to me because you're just like, I don't want to be back there. It seems a little dangerous. It seems controversial. And I'm like, exactly. It's great. It's wonderful.
I've called balls and strikes. I don't know that I've ever called balls and strikes back there with like a chest guard and stuff. I know I did it a couple of times. This is obviously like maybe 10U or something from like behind the pitcher's mound. Mm-hmm. I actually felt like way more confident about my calls about whether they were balls or strikes from back there. But
that's just inaccurate. I mean,
obviously there's
if we got the computer on there, there's no way they'd be more accurate.
How do you feel about robot umps eventually taking over balls and strikes?
I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. I mean, I don't want. At this point, we've gone so far into the instant replay thing that we can't have missed ball strike calls affecting baseball games, because it's like the more you play baseball, the more even if it's strike one, how much one bad call affects an at bat. It's bad, and so it's like. I was fine with human error, but we've crossed some threshold in sports where we're not okay with human error anymore. And so now one where there is just such rampant human error at times feels ridiculous. Though with the reviews they do of umpires now, strike zones have gotten pretty incredible. There are some pretty blatant examples of where that is not true, and you hear all about them, but umpires now are calling balls and strikes at way over 90% clips correctly.
Yeah. Thanks so much for checking out the Bag Chatter podcast. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and you already know how to subscribe to podcasts, so I'm not going to waste your time. You can find us on all the socials at Bag Chatter Golf or Brian Elaine Golf. And you can check out everything we have going on at bagchattergolf.com. If you want more content from me and Adam, check out the Bag Chatter Deli. That is our Patreon, where we only serve the choicest portions of 4-ball ham and the leanest cuts of bone meat. For $5 a month, you get to support the pod, and you get a weekly episode of our Friday supporter-only podcast, Cold Cuts, Hot Takes. You can find that at patreon.com/bagchattergolf. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for listening.